Welcome, Jason. Jason Schwattreiser is the president of IGFA, which is the International Game Fishing Association. And we're here today to have this conversation about what IGFA actually is and why you should care about it. And certainly you should care about the IGFA. Jace, so what is IGFA and why is it important?
Thanks so much for having me on, Peter. I appreciate it. Well, the IGFA, or the International Game Fish Association, is a conservation-driven recreational fishing organization. We've been around since 1939, and we're dedicated to the conservation of game fish, educating the next generation of anglers, recording outstanding accomplishments in the field of angling, and kind of chronicling the history of fishing. And if you had to really boil it down to what we do and what the IGFA does, our core programs are always going to be conservation, education, and angler recognition. Conservation work spans things from, we have the largest billfish satellite tagging project in the world in conjunction with Barbara Bloch's lab at Stanford University. Yet at the same time, we focus on the other end of the food chain too. We do a lot of work both in the advocacy world and facilitating research on forage fish, small bait fish that are necessary for healthy aquatic ecosystems. Our education efforts really focus primarily at this point getting that next generation of anglers involved in the sport, and that in turn will turn them into the next generation of environmental stewards. So we're using fishing as a carrot to get kids in to learn more about marine and freshwater habitats, the importance of healthy habitats, fishing limits, and things like that. So we focus a lot on that, and then of course there's our angler recognition. And this is really what the IGFA was founded on back in the late 30s. Organizations that predated the IGFA, like the Game Fishing Association of Australia, the British Tuna Club that is no longer in existence, and then the Avalon Tuna Club. There was a number of organizations out there saying we need one unified set of angling rules and who should administer that. And it was decided that an independent organization would do that, and that led to the birth of the IGFA with Michael Lerner, our founder. So we administer the international angling rules for the sport of fishing. And why would the IGFA matter? Well, every sport needs rules. If you go out and play a game of golf, even if you're not playing in a tournament or for money, you're going to generally adhere to the same set of rules. Tennis, everything's the same way. So the reason we have these rules, or these rules were created, is to provide standardization. So Peter, if you catch a bonefish in the Cook Islands and I catch one in the Florida Keys, we can compare catches somewhat if we're all playing by the same rules, okay? You're not using 50-pound tippet and I'm using 8, whatever. Our fishing dramatically different. And of course, that leads to things like competitions, tournaments, but more specifically, our world records, which is probably what most people know us for.
Yeah.
That's kind of a long-winded answer to that, but.
Well, I think that's very, relevant. Like, I started off catching and killing everything and anything, and then basically joined a game fishing club and really enjoyed the rules because the rules were almost a guide to improving your fishing. And then you can compare your last week's catch with this week's catch, and really, it gives you this aspiration to just do better and better and better. And because of the rules, you actually become, to me, a much better fisherman.
I would agree.
Even with the conservation stuff, and a lot of people have different opinions of what conservation means, and that's a whole nother topic. But, I don't kill anything anymore, and basically I'm really glad that the IGFA has just brought in the release records where you get your mat, you measure it, and and it's very, very exciting, because I think you do go through a stage where you end up liking the fish, more than you actually like killing them. You actually appreciate what goes into them. And one of the greatest things I ever did was dissect a marlin, especially around the head and the brain, and just realize how complex the whole thing is, and that it's managed to survive and been around for 30 million years or thereabouts. And humans haven't, and fishing's only been around, the fishing we do has only been around for 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
So much more to learn and understand about all of it. And
Uh,
and I'm glad that, you know, basically now we've got the IGFA Oceania section, which I'm the chairman of the education committee, and it's very exciting to spread the news, and I hope we can continue to do that incredibly well.
Well, I want to thank you too for your service on the committee. I mean, getting back to the rules, it's you know, you hear people say, "Yeah, I'm going to go out and fish today, but I'm not going to fish by IGFA rules." You need to fish by them, and they're not. You're absolutely right. I think they do make you a better angler, and really, if you look at them, they're not really that onerous. It's basically just measuring some of your terminal tackle, making sure you're not doing some types of specific angling practices, and you know, you're fishing quote unquote ethically and by IGFA rules.
Yeah, I just don't have a problem, and, you know, and it does improve your fishing. You know, like
It
even
does.
your maximum length leader in the game fishing rules, and even trolling lures and leader lengths and stuff. If you go beyond that, it's really difficult. If you go much shorter, it's too hard. So, and even the hook placement, you know, by having some part of the hook in the lure skirt, that sort of tells you maybe that's where it should be. Because
Yeah.
if it's any further back, it's really good, but let's get it to where it's really, really effective. And I think the rules actually help you. And being a member of a club and joining a club means you're part of a community. And the community is really important, not just for the fishing, but for, you know, meeting other people, like-minded people and all that sort of stuff, you know, and it's mentally good for you. It's a place to go away from work, away from the family, and away from stress. And I think it's fantastic. So, Jason, all the best of luck to you, and thank you for being president. You're a great one. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate all you do, Peter.
Thank you.